listening to the Betmaker Show. This is the PGA President's Cup review for Monday, December 16th, 2019. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Betmaker Show, Brian Blessing.
We love talking golf. Brian Blessing, Cam Stewart. We're ready to have at it, except there's not much to have at. So we're going to take a recap of the President's Cup and relay that into some information we think can make you some money down the road. There is one tournament. Let's do it real quick. Hi, Cammy. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Brian. I'm doing okay, man. Just surviving. You talked about it, too. This President's Cup, exactly. I'll give you a lot of credit. It played out exactly how you said it would. Early, the Americans with the jet lag, the internationals taking the lead. And we've seen this movie before. Come singles time with the Americans, that's what they do. They take care of business in singles. But it was a great tournament. If you take the internationals on the spread they cover, we knew the Americans would win. It kind of played out the way we thought, and we've seen a lot of good young golfers step up. A guy that we've been betting for the last couple of years going to break through the door pretty soon, Sunjay M. This guy, they call him the robot there. He is fantastic. And once that putter gets rolling, dude, this guy's going to he makes money now. He's going to be rolling in it. Well,
that was going to be, my big takeaway from the President's Cup, which, by the way, I've been thoroughly disinterested in for many, many, many years.
It was good this year.
God bless betting, and you had a field day with it. As you said, a lot of the stuff that we talked about actually came to pass, and there were plus prices aplenty. And then you were able to take what you watched the first few days and knew that the U.S., the jet lag was getting behind them, but B, they were learning that brutal course, and it was awesome. And the fact that it was competitive, I think the President's Cup will reap the rewards of this for years to come. And there are some talented young players. The Ryder Cup, we know about the European Tour and the Ryder Cup and the Europeans. It's a nightmare for the U.S. side. But I will tell you, the young cast of characters that was on this international team, there are guys that are going to reap rewards from the learning experience this was. And I will tell you, Sunjay M. took a big lighter to a lot of money with this guy last year. Got a lot of it back in the President's Cup. Played him every turn, every round, every match. He was spectacular. And I think, Cam, Matt, that's the beauty of match play. In stroke play, you have one or two or three bad holes or a snowman, you're out. And in match play, you just go to the next hole. But I think the experience that M took out of this, and oh, by the way, they mentioned this. It's insane. The one thing he's got to do, though, is he got to slow it down. He played competitively in 36 of the 52 weeks in tournaments. He's 21 and he's young. He says, I love it. I just want to keep going. Well, at some point, somebody's got to rein this kid in and say, you want to start winning and win big events, you got to taper that schedule down. But I think he's finally going to kick the door down this year.
I agree. You talked about it, Brian. We burned money with this guy. We've had him so many times on Sunday thinking about the big score, just couldn't close the door. But an experience like this, it's going to get him closer, man. And no, this guy, he had that look in his eye. The European captains were talking about him, call him Iron Byron, basically hitting it dead straight every time like a machine. He will be there. Sometimes his putting lets him down. And I'll give you credit, too, with Abraham Answer. He came out of the gate real hot there. The Mexican, he played fantastic golf. So those are a couple guys on our radar. Very impressed by the internationals. The stage wasn't too big for them. You knew the Americans were going to come back with the big guns that they had at the end. The Cantleys of the world hitting big putts. But man, it was a great President's Cup. You said it. Like, we bet it. We made some money on it, but it was good. It was very competitive, and that's the way it played out. Internationals early, USA late. And I was actually thoroughly impressed with it, Brian. And as you said, that course, oh my God, that's what a U.S. Open course should play. Like, those greens were rock hard and tough. And I'll tell you, man, you have to get it right next to the pit. Like, these balls were bouncing. That was a very, very difficult course to play. And I think the guys handled it well. And we have a couple guys on our radar when the golf season progresses. We get Hawaii. We know Justin Thomas does well there. Did well in this tournament. He seems to, make a lot of money. But hey, it's right around the corner, buddy. But we got a couple new guys that we keep our eyes on too, and we know who they are. They just need to break through and win.
Right. Well, let's move forward. But the last thing I'll say, is Shirley Temple. Matt Kuchar, what a puke. He ends up making the putt that secures the President's Cup, and he's bouncing around with a happy smile on his face. Well, this character, he came up short the whole time, and the day before he missed a 3-footer. They ended up having the match. Tony Finau carried him like a grand piano. Yeah. Kuchar cost me a lot of money, and I didn't bet his last match, but I'll tell you, had I'd have been throwing stuff at the screen. He backs into it. He gets the putt that guarantees the half, right? Or he guarantees the half and secures the President's Cup, and then goes to 17, and the idiot 3 putts and loses his match, and he's all smiles. I mean, if had I bet him on that thing, I would have gone to my favorite sporting goods store and bought an international amphibian machine to get over to Australia. Oh, he makes me ill.
Oh, he drives. Trust me, this guy drives me nuts too. Permagrin, yeah, I know. Trust me, like Matt Kuchar, I see that smile. You just want to wipe it off his face, and he always seems to be always in a good situation too, right, Brian? Some guys have no luck. He has all the luck. This guy, it's like he can't lose. That's the thing, though. Yeah, he got carried a lot. You're right about Finau. He carried him big time. He didn't even play that well, but that's classic Matt Kuchar. Hey, everybody, we win. I get to be the guy. But I'll tell you something, man. He drives me nuts, and I was actually really surprised too with Justin Thomas losing his last match. But man, he spit the bit. He was in great form with Tiger Woods early. And as I said before, Brian, when this guy goes to Hawaii, it's almost like money. We're not going to get a price on him, but he's always there. He loves that part of the year. Just comes out, boom, wins a couple tournaments in Hawaii, banks it for the year. Yeah, he's an ATM machine too, who actually really knows how to win.
Let's make some money tonight.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website at betmaker.com. The other guy, we mentioned him on the international side. There's one other guy on their side I'll get to here shortly. But the one other guy, you know what? Mentioned Tony Finau, buddy. He was clutch. I mean, he birdied. They were down 2, and in the one match, he birdied 17 and 18, and then he was down 4. On Saturday they were down 2 with 2 to go, and he birdied both holes. And then in singles, he was down 4, and came back. And I'm telling you, I think Tony Finau has a big 2020 as well. And I think the positive experience he gained here.
When they interviewed Tiger Woods and he said, and this is what tells you what Tony Finau did. He's down to Hideki. You think that match is over. Hideki was rolling. When you looked at the flags, that was the international flag 4 up. And when Tiger Woods said he saw the match all square, he almost did a triple take. Are you kidding me? You went win, 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 and you battled back. That's the thing about Finau, though, Brian. He's a bit lighter to money too. We've had him, yes, top 5s, top 10s, been very close. When can he put 4 rounds together? When can he hit that big putt? It's actually all the things we saw in the President's Cup, we've been waiting for him to do on the PGA Tour. He was clutch as hell, and once he starts, that's the thing. It should be a springboard for guys like him and Finau to break through. And I'll tell you something, even though they played okay, Gary Woodland had that one major, he was a little bit loose, Dustin Johnson. Some of these other guys, Brian, it's interesting because we're going to see some of the younger guys get better. And I'm not sure if some of these guys who have already established themselves can keep pace with these hot players.
All right. And then one other guy, and let's go this week. And then I think down the road, he reaps rewards from this as well. But this week, it's the Australian PGA. And there are only three guys, maybe 4. Maybe you can make a case for Jason Scrivener. But
Scrivener's
at
good.
The top, co-favorites, 6-1, Adam Scott, Cameron Smith. Not a doubt in my mind, it's Cameron Smith. He builds off the positive experience. I think Scott was shouldering the load as the leader of the Australians, and then he coughed it up finally on Sunday. But Cameron Smith was nails. I would look at Cameron Smith this week at 6-1. But the one guy who didn't, those guys had to go through that gauntlet. If there's a guy that's fresh that's coming in, that's a name guy you could look at, how about Cameron Smith or Cameron Champ at 16-1?
Yeah, I'll tell you though about Smith, Brian. I want to bet him, and the books aren't stupid. If they're giving him the same prices as Adam Scott, they're on top of things. I wish we could get it 10-1 because I want to smash Cameron Smith. He came out against Patrick Reed, didn't care. I like this kid. He's got a lot of gumption, and I think he's going to break through.
He stared down Justin Thomas.
Yeah, he stared.
When it was on the line. It was on the line.
Exactly, Brian. Great point. And I put a parlay together. I was money. Like me and you were nailing these matchup bets, and I'm like, I'll throw in Justin Thomas against Cameron Smith just for extra money. And that match actually cost me a huge parlay on one of my sites that I could parlay the stuff, the individual matches, and I go 4-1. See, that's frustrating. And I'll tell you, if you beat a guy like Justin Thomas, who is like the king of the Americans in this format, that tells me something. This kid is fearless. And I really, really like his game, Brian. This is going to be a tough year, though, pal. Like, we know golf. We watch every stroke of every tournament. We're the turkeys waking up to watch the European Tour at 3 o'clock in the morning. But the game has changed. There's so many guys now. I remember when we used to do the show, I'm like, Brian, 10 to 15 guys can win this tournament. Now I can call you and go, Brian, 30. I think 40 can win this tournament. 50 can win this tournament. Hell, some of these even other guys, like, golf is getting – it's so – hard to pick the winners, and we know all the guys that are good. So what you got to do, we'll explain in future shows, Brian, but diversifying that portfolio, finding a matchup bet, finding a guy to fade, finding a guy to ride, that's what we have to do. You have to bet on the winner, but there's so many guys that could be in contention. Golf's a little bit different than other sports. You got to spread it around.
And my final takeaway from the President's Cup, I would love to see this happen. It won't, but that would be that Patrick Reed's brother-in-law became Matt Kuchar's caddy, and when Kuchar doesn't tip him, he punches him right in the face.
That's the best. I love Patrick Reed. What is going on with this guy? First of all, he told his brother-in-law, he wants to fight a kangaroo. Hey, Ozzy, let's go, let's dance. Patrick Reed is a train wreck. From his wife being his caddy to him and the money and the bunker cheating and everything else. Like, we laugh at Matt Kuchar. Patrick Reed is the ongoing gong show we're going to love. And I'll tell you, man, this guy's a pariah. It's unbelievable. Can you believe that stuff? Like, he's just out. I don't know what to say. He's actually kind of good for golf, Brian.
He is. He's radioactive.
Yeah, he's radioactive. And a lot of guys in golf, to my other friends, they're like, golf boring. And I'm like, oh, it's not. It's a great sport. And at least Patrick Reed, he brings out the WWE in golf, and we like it. And it's fun. And it's fun to bet against him when he's a powder keg, too. I actually made some money betting against him this tournament. It was great.
All right, and listen, last thing on the President's Cup, bud, and we'll wrap this up, and we'll be back soon, man. I'm telling you, there'll be the Tournament of Champions. They'll be in Hawaii in a few weeks, and really we get going in earnest again. But I'll tell you, the big takeaway, the only rub you have is the not knowing from week to week, how the body's holding up.
Exactly.
But man, Tiger Woods, if the body cooperates, he is unbelievable. And the Masters is at 9-1 on Tiger. It's absolutely there for the taking again. He is, like, give him full marks, man. He's the best ever. It's remarkable. If the body holds up, he's winning another major next year somewhere.
Augusta. That's where he'll get it done. The majors you look at Tiger Woods in, Brian, we've talked about it. Open Championship, Masters. Those are tracks that he can just absolutely. Actually, you bring up a good point.
Drive. He's hitting fairways again. I said this for 20 years. It's like, well, who's going to listen to this jackass in Las Vegas? I mean, had he never abandoned trying to get better, the 3-iron, 2-iron stinger shot, he'd have been by Nicklaus already.
Yeah.
I mean, he tried to get better, and his driver, he couldn't hit fairways. If he was playing from short grass, so what if he's 20 yards further out? He's flag hunting. Yeah, his driver killed him, cost him 10 majors. Now he's piping it. I mean, I don't even remember him missing a fairway.
You're right. His driving has been better. Like now it looks like Tiger in his prime. It's scary. And he could take something off it, Brian. Older, wiser, smarter, straighter. It's scary. Yeah, you said it. In these long courses that used to beat him down. Now with that driver, yeah, you said it. I was thinking just Augusta and maybe, you know what I mean, overseas. But now U.S. Open and PGA Championship come into play as well. If he gets that driver cooking, man, watch out, world. It's been a great, hey, buddy, it's a great year for golf. We talk about all the new young guys. Are they going to break through? Tiger's back. Like, for golf fans, this is like the most exciting time because there's so many damn storylines, Brian. There's so many guys that can win.
What's back? You know what's back more than Tiger is playing and he's playing well. You know what's back, and I think these young guys used to laugh at him, but I'm telling you,
they're not
the
laughing.
way
he's going to make them cry.
The way he's playing now, he's ripping guys' hearts out of their chest again.
Exactly.
And believe me, you know what? Not only is his game back, the intimidation is back.
Oh, of course it is. Nobody wants to deal with Tiger Woods. When you're on a leaderboard and you have, you're sitting there with a 2-stroke lead, walking Augusta, you see the 11 hole, see Tiger Woods breathing down your neck. I'll tell you something. When you make a guy like Francisco Molinari almost go in his pants because Tiger Woods is behind, you got a problem. That's a guy that was winning tournaments, Brian. Remember when he was winning 8 strokes, 7 strokes, crushing fields? He sees Tiger Woods on the leaderboard. He goes, oh my God, here comes Tiger. Think about young guys when they see that. That's the thing. He's got the roar back, and he's scaring people. These kids they think they got game. With Tiger Woods healthy and hitting that driver, they're in big trouble.
All right, there you have it, a recap of the President's Cup. Think Cameron Smith and Cameron Champ. The Cams.
Yeah,
Cam Stewart.
Yeah.
It's a hunch. It's a trifecta of Cams.
Everybody but Cam Newton, Brian, bet on him.
All right, we're going to step aside. There you have it. It was a great President's Cup, and there's a lot of money to be made coming up soon in the world of golf.
Betmaker, let's make some money tonight.
Well, that's the Betmaker Show for now. We publish multiple times each week. We'd like to thank you for listening, and if you liked what you heard, please take a moment to leave a rating and review, or subscribe to our show feed, or share our show with a friend or two and help us grow the show. We very much appreciate it. Visit us on the web at betmaker.com, and reminder to sign up for the newsletter. Thanks to our engineer, Darren Vandermolen, and producer, Mike Gallivan. The Betmaker Show is a production of Cardinal Marketing Incorporated. Betmaker is a registered trademark. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this content without the express written consent of Cardinal Marketing Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction, as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At Betmaker.com and The Betmaker Show, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling. An approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling. And do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.